Most people have heard of Brazil and Argentina. Many can picture the Andes, the Amazon, or the beaches of Rio. But tucked between some of South America's most famous countries is a nation that rarely appears in travel documentaries, international headlines, or bucket lists. Paraguay. A landlocked country with no coastline, no world-famous skyline, and no single attraction that defines it for outsiders. Yet that is exactly what makes it interesting. Because Paraguay does not perform for visitors. It does not feel polished into a tourist product. Daily life continues at its own pace, shaped by heat, rivers, rural traditions, and a language that survived when many others disappeared. To understand Paraguay, begin in Asunción. The capital sits beside the Paraguay River, where modern offices, aging colonial buildings, leafy residential streets, informal stalls, and crowded buses exist within the same city. Asunción is not a place that reveals itself through one dramatic landmark. Its character appears gradually, in vendors arranging fruit before the morning heat intensifies, in office workers drinking cold tereré between appointments, in families gathering beneath shade trees as the evening finally cools, and in traffic that seems to move according to rules understood only by the people who use it every day. The city feels quieter than the giant capital surrounding it. Yet Asunción has something larger cities often struggle to preserve: a sense of closeness. Many residents remain connected through relatives, schools, neighborhoods, churches, clubs, and friendships that stretch back years. The capital is growing, but it still behaves like a place where lives overlap. That closeness becomes visible in the way people speak. Spanish is one of Paraguay's official languages, but Guarani remains part of ordinary communication across much of the country. People often move between the two without pausing to explain where one ends and the other begins. A conversation may begin in Spanish, switch into Guarani for humor or emotion, then return again. This is unusual in the Americas. In many countries, indigenous languages were pushed to the margins. In Paraguay, Guarani became part of national identity, spoken not only within indigenous communities, but across much of the wider population. It appears in music, family conversations, jokes, radio, advertising, and the words people use when Spanish alone does not feel expressive enough. Language is not the only tradition woven into daily routines. Almost everywhere, there is tereré. At first, it looks simple. Cold water poured over yerba mate leaves, then shared through a metal straw. But tereré is rarely only a drink. It creates a pause. Friends sit together. Co-workers pass the cup. Families carry large flasks through hot afternoons. The ritual turns waiting into conversation and ordinary time into something social. In a country where summer temperatures can become intense, the cold drink is practical. But its deeper value lies in sharing. The same mixture of practicality and tradition appears in Paraguayan food. Meals are often built around ingredients suited to the climate and agricultural landscape. Corn, cassava, cheese, beef, and eggs appear repeatedly. Sopa paraguaya, despite its name, is not a soup, but a dense cornbread made with cheese and onion. Chipa, a small cheese bread made with cassava starch, is sold from baskets, shops, roadside stands, and bus stations. It is eaten at breakfast, during journeys, or whenever hunger appears between meals. These foods are simple, filling, and closely tied to home. But the calm surface of daily life can be misleading. Paraguay is also a major agricultural exporter. Beyond the capital, enormous fields, cattle ranches, and farming communities shape the economy. Soybeans and beef connect this quiet, landlocked country to markets around the world. The Paraguay and Paraná rivers provide access to distant ports, allowing ships to carry goods towards the Atlantic even though the nation has no coast. Water has always mattered here. The Paraguay River divides the country into two very different worlds. To the east lies the more populated region, where cities, farms, roads, and most economic activity are concentrated. To the west lies the Chaco, a vast, hot, sparsely populated landscape that can feel almost endless. The Chaco is dry, difficult, and beautiful in a severe way. Roads cross scrubland beneath enormous skies. Cattle ranches sit far apart. Small communities adapt to distances that would feel unimaginable in the capital. Traveling from Asunción into this region reveals how little of Paraguay can be understood from city life alone. And then there is electricity. Paraguay shares enormous hydroelectric dams with Brazil and Argentina and generates more electricity than it consumes domestically. The Itaipu Dam, shared with Brazil, became one of the most important engineering projects in the region. Yet the most revealing part of Paraguay is not found in dams, exports, or government buildings. It is found in the contrast between scale and simplicity. A country capable of producing vast amounts of energy can still feel deeply rural. A nation linked to global agricultural markets can still revolve around family lunches and neighborhood conversations. A capital city can expand while people continue carrying the same cold drink their grandparents shared. Paraguay is modernizing, but quietly. It rarely announces itself. That may be why so many travelers overlook it. They search for spectacle and miss the slower story unfolding underneath. But spend enough time here, and the country begins to reveal its rhythm, not through one breathtaking moment, through hundreds of ordinary ones. A woman selling chipa to passengers at a bus terminal, a family speaking two languages around the same table, a boat moving slowly along the river, a football match drawing an entire neighborhood outside, and a city settling into conversation as the heat fades from the streets. This is the Paraguay few outsiders expect, a country hidden, not because it is closed, but because the world has rarely stopped long enough to look. If there is one word that describes life in Paraguay, it is balance. Not the balance between work and holidays, but the balance between old and new. The balance between city life and the countryside. The balance between modern ambition and traditions that have survived for centuries. Unlike some countries where rapid development has dramatically changed daily routines, Paraguay often feels as though it has modernized without completely leaving its past behind. Family remains at the heart of that balance. Across much of the country, several generations stay closely connected throughout life. Grandparents often play an active role in raising children. Aunts, uncles, cousins, and close family friends remain involved in one another's lives. Sunday lunches are more than a weekly meal. They are a tradition. Tables fill with grilled meat, homemade dishes, fresh bread, salads, and conversations that continue long after everyone has finished eating. Children play in the garden while adults catch up on family news. There is rarely any rush. Time spent together is considered valuable in itself. That same sense of community extends beyond the home. In smaller towns especially, neighbors know one another well. People greet each other on the street, Shop owners recognize regular customers. News travels quickly. If someone needs help repairing a roof, harvesting crops, or organizing a celebration, relatives and neighbors often arrive without needing much persuasion. It creates a sense of belonging that visitors notice almost immediately. Life feels personal. Even in Asunción, where more than 2 million people live across the metropolitan area, relationships often remain surprisingly close. People frequently run into old classmates, former colleagues, or distant relatives while shopping or walking through the city. The country simply feels connected. Education has also become increasingly important for younger generations. Parents encourage children to complete secondary school and continue into higher education whenever possible. Universities in Asunción attract students from across the country, offering courses in engineering, medicine, agriculture, law, business, and technology. Many graduates hope to remain in Paraguay, contributing to the country's steady economic growth. Others seek experience abroad before eventually returning home. That connection to home is remarkably strong. Many Paraguayans who live overseas continue investing in property, supporting relatives financially, and visiting regularly. Home remains home, regardless of distance. One of the country's greatest strengths lies in its young population. A new generation has grown up connected to the internet, social media, and global markets. Small businesses increasingly advertise online. Local artisans sell products through digital platforms. Restaurants rely on delivery apps. Young entrepreneurs are creating technology companies, clothing brands, cafes, and creative businesses that barely existed 20 years ago. Yet unlike many rapidly growing economies, Paraguay still moves at a relatively relaxed pace. People work hard, but there is often less emphasis on constant urgency. Conversations take time. Meals are not rushed. Social life remains an important part of everyday well-being. Visitors from larger cities sometimes describe Paraguay as calmer, less stressful, more grounded. That slower rhythm becomes especially noticeable during the evenings. As temperatures begin to fall, parks slowly fill with families. Children ride bicycles. Teenagers gather with friends. Couples walk through public squares. Street food vendors begin serving customers. Football matches appear in open spaces wherever there is enough room for 2 goals. Football is by far the country's most popular sport. Professional clubs attract passionate supporters, while local matches bring neighborhoods together every weekend. Children dream of playing professionally. Adults continue supporting the same club throughout their lives. Victories are celebrated loudly. Defeats discussed for days afterward. Sport creates another thread connecting communities across the country. Religion also continues shaping daily life. The majority of Paraguayans identify as Christian, with Roman Catholicism remaining the largest denomination. Churches continue serving not only as places of worship, but also as centers for community events, charitable work, festivals, and family celebrations. Religious holidays remain important parts of the national calendar. Traditional festivals bring together music, dancing, food, and local customs that have survived for generations. Music itself occupies a special place in Paraguayan identity. Traditional Paraguayan harp music remains internationally recognized, while folk music continues playing during festivals, family gatherings, and cultural events. Alongside these traditions, younger generations enjoy Latin pop, rock, reggaeton, and international music, creating another example of old and new existing comfortably together. Craftsmanship also remains an important source of pride. Across the country, artisans continue producing lace known as ñanduti, hand-carved woodwork, leather goods, ceramics, and woven textiles. Many techniques have been passed from parents to children for generations. Rather than disappearing, these crafts have found new markets through tourism and online sales. Perhaps nowhere is Paraguay's character more visible than in its countryside. Outside the cities, life often follows the rhythm of nature. Sunrise signals the beginning of work. Farms gradually come alive. Birdsong replaces traffic noise. Communities depend upon agriculture, livestock, and local businesses. The pace is slower, but not idle. People work long hours, often beginning before the morning heat arrives. Many families have lived on the same land for generations, creating deep connections to place. At the same time, improved roads, mobile internet, and better infrastructure continue reducing the distance between rural communities and urban opportunities. Young people no longer have to choose completely between tradition and modern life. Increasingly, they can combine both. Perhaps that is Paraguay's greatest strength. It rarely abandons what already works. Instead, it quietly builds upon it. Modern businesses grow alongside traditional markets. Digital technology expands while Guarani remains widely spoken. New apartment buildings rise as family farms continue producing food, much as they always have. Progress here rarely arrives with dramatic headlines. It happens steadily, patiently. One family, one business, one community at a time. And in many ways, that quiet confidence has become one of the defining characteristics of modern Paraguay. Paraguay rarely dominates international headlines. It is not usually the first country people think about when discussing South America. Yet for many Paraguayans, that has never been a disadvantage. Life here has never been about attracting the world's attention. It has been about creating stability, supporting families, and gradually building a better future. That quiet determination can be seen across the country. In Asunción, new apartment buildings continue rising above the skyline. Shopping centers have expanded. New cafes, restaurants, and local businesses open every year. International companies are investing in logistics, agriculture, manufacturing, and financial services. While Paraguay may not grow as dramatically as some of its neighbors, its economy has developed steadily over the past 2 decades, helped by agriculture, renewable energy, and increasing regional trade. One of the country's greatest advantages is something few visitors ever notice: energy. Paraguay produces far more electricity than it consumes. Hydroelectric projects such as Itaipu and Yacyretá generate enormous amounts of renewable power, supplying homes, businesses, and neighboring countries. For a nation of just over 7 million people, this abundance of clean energy provides opportunities that many larger countries would envy. It has also attracted industries looking for reliable and affordable electricity. Manufacturing continues to expand. Factories produce food products, textiles, plastics, pharmaceuticals, and automotive components. Many businesses are drawn by Paraguay's central location within South America, allowing goods to move efficiently between Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia, and beyond. The Paraguay River remains one of the country's most valuable natural highways. Every day, barges loaded with soybeans, corn, beef, fuel, and manufactured goods travel along its waters. Although Paraguay has no coastline, its river network connects it to the Atlantic Ocean through neighboring countries, making international trade possible on a remarkable scale. Agriculture continues to provide the backbone of the economy. Paraguay ranks among the world's largest exporters of soybeans and beef. Across the countryside, modern machinery now works alongside traditional farming knowledge passed through generations. Drones monitor crops. Satellite data helps farmers improve yields. New irrigation methods increase efficiency. Yet despite these advances, many farms remain family businesses where experience is shared from parents to children. This mixture of innovation and tradition continues shaping rural life. Environmental protection has also become increasingly important. The country is home to remarkable ecosystems, from the wetlands of the Pantanal to the forests of eastern Paraguay and the vast Chaco region. These landscapes support thousands of plant and animal species, while providing livelihoods through farming, forestry, fishing, and tourism. Balancing economic growth with environmental conservation remains one of Paraguay's biggest long-term challenges. Climate change has also brought new pressures. Periods of drought have affected river levels, agriculture, and electricity production. Heavy rainfall has caused flooding in some communities. Like many countries, Paraguay is learning to adapt while protecting the natural resources upon which so many livelihoods depend. Of course, challenges remain beyond the environment. Many young people continue leaving smaller towns in search of opportunities in Asunción or abroad. Healthcare and education continue improving, but access can vary between urban and rural areas. Some communities still face poverty and limited infrastructure. These are realities that shape everyday life for many families. Yet there is also optimism. People continue opening businesses. Students continue graduating. Farmers continue investing in better equipment. Communities continue improving local schools, roads, and public spaces. Progress here is rarely dramatic. It happens step by step. That steady approach reflects something deeper about Paraguay itself. The country does not try to compete through spectacle. Its greatest strengths are quieter, strong communities, stable family life, cultural pride, natural resources, and an ability to preserve traditions while gradually embracing change. Perhaps that is why visitors so often leave surprised. They arrive expecting a country hidden between larger neighbors. Instead, they discover a place with its own distinct identity. They remember evenings spent sharing tereré beneath the shade of trees, markets where conversations last longer than transactions, the sound of Guarani spoken naturally alongside Spanish, the warmth of people who welcome strangers without hesitation, and the peaceful rhythm that seems to slow time itself. Paraguay may never become South America's busiest tourist destination. It may never dominate international news, but perhaps it does not need to. Its story has always been different. It is the story of a country comfortable with its own pace, a place where tradition still shapes modern life, where communities remain strong despite a rapidly changing world, and where success is often measured not by how quickly life moves, but by the quality of the relationships built along the way. As the sun sets over the Paraguay River, fishing boats return to shore while families begin gathering for the evening. Children play outside until darkness settles across quiet neighborhoods. Friends meet to share conversation over tereré. The pace slows. The heat fades. Another ordinary day comes to an end. And it is in these ordinary moments, rather than famous landmarks or dramatic headlines, that the true character of Paraguay becomes clear. Not a country trying to impress the world, but one quietly building a future while remaining deeply connected to the traditions, language, and communities that have always made it unique.